This video is sponsored by The Biscuit Barrel. Ruby Gillman has flopped, and I was surprised. Hearing the pitch a couple months back and expelling my first impressions from the trailer, I was pretty on board with the whole thing. Switching up the cliches of perfect Disney mermaid protagonists and telling a twist of the other perspective sounds great. We all love to rag on Disney these days, and DreamWorks had been killing it recently. And so the day quickly came and no one went to see it. I myself was delayed like a week because I was too caught up in moving house, but by the time I did go plan to see it, there was just one showing on the next day. And that one showing had 2 other people watching it. Very fitting because it was the Brighton Odeon, and if any of you have any experience with that cinema, it is the definition of run down and dilapidated. It only added to the vibe more that the toilet locks didn't work, like 1/10 of the seats were broken and out of service, and there's a giant green exit sign that blinds the audiences right at the front of the room the entire time. The movie itself clearly just did not bring people in, and that confuses a few people. DreamWorks has flopped, Pixar has flopped, Disney franchises have flopped. What is going on? Well, I'm sure there are all sorts of moving cogs, but it doesn't necessarily come down to the quality of the movie. I mean, these 3 examples practically cover the whole damn spectrum. Pixar's Elemental is pretty good. I saw it. Though the emergence of tropes are somewhat there, it's a compelling story with a lot of heart. Then you've got Indiana Jones, and depending on who you ask, it's a disaster. Superfans hate the directions this franchise has gone and the elements within it. Teleporting villains, stupid plot points, and the gall to use time travel in this series. Though I enjoyed it, because I'm not an indie fan. I don't know what I'm talking about there. And then you come to Ruby Gillman, where the quality of this movie, it doesn't matter. That is not the reason that it's caused minimum splash. The fault behind all of these productions can be melted down to one singular thing: the marketing. The idea of these movies themselves are the fault, because there's a looming piece of reality that gets lost in these movie failure discussions: the context of the times these movies released in. We are collectively sitting within some of the worst financial times in history. There is a crisis underlying everybody, and more so than ever does it affect your average family wanting to watch films for their children. You know, the target demographic of these 3 shows. And then you look at the wider industry, the options for choice, and you see we're in some of the greatest times of cinema. Somehow, we have some of the greatest successes alongside some of the biggest flops. And it all comes down to choice. Each and every person making the same-ish choice of what movie to even watch. A family of 5 can't go out and see every movie that's releasing this season. They're gonna pick the good stuff. It's your Mario movie, your Shrek spin-off, the Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse, Barbenheimer. Who cares about generic fire and water people? Looks like a cliche-ridden snooze fest. Who cares about Indiana Jones? It's a classic, but looks to be more of the same. Who cares about Ruby Gillman? It's just another coming-of-age school story with the mermaid cliche, but backwards. Set in the EEAAO universe, where everyone has sausages for hands. When you can only afford a small collection of movie tickets, people will deprioritize the ones that look so tropey. Audiences beg for originality and pizzazz. They can't afford anything else. This video is sponsored by The Biscuit Barrel. It's August again, so we're sponsored by Biscuit Barrel. Here's how it works. I'm away for the entire month of August. I'm at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with a comedy sketch group called, what do you know, The Biscuit Barrel. Uploads will still be going on. Probably. I just need to juggle it with a very busy schedule. It'll probably just be weekly. But also, here's what it looks like. It's me on stage doing comedy bits. I've turned around and become a bit of a physical comedian, which is very ironic considering I am just a disembodied voice on this channel. But if you are over in the Edinburgh region for the entire month of August, come say hi and come see us. We have made our way through the ranks that we are at the largest venue at the festival, the Gilded Balloon. At a very good spot in the middle of the afternoon, we have a massive crew compared to what we had in the past, a million branding changes and all sorts of stuff. It's me passionately doing this little side hustle that could accidentally become a genuine, real mainstream career rather than the weird internet career. I'll still do both, but this is another one of my passions that I will be working on for the entire month of August. It'll explain why uploads are a bit choppy, but also it's an opportunity for you to see me in person. Or at least, if not, then check the link in the description to find a link tree for Biscuit Barrel. There you can find access to all of the different social media pages to find out what I'm up to. Instagram's best for general graphics and good-looking things, but also I've put together a massive TikTok campaign that I plan to roll out through the entirety of December. So if you want to see me doing other content that's not actually Daz Reviews content on TikTok, although that does also exist, you can see the Biscuit Barrel on TikTok to see all the other creative things that I am outputting. I'm a very busy boy, and this is why.
Don't be a baby! Give me your socks!
And so that is why I had to plug it in that this video is sponsored by the Biscuit Barrel. On to Ruby Gillman. So perhaps Ruby Gillman isn't actually that bad. Is it? Did you watch it? Because I did, and despite all my defenses, it is not looking good. Standing on the shoulders of giants with The Bad Guys and The Last Wish, this movie does not make it up to par, which is a shame, because I was really rooting for it. This film starts off amazingly. If there is one shining element of the Teenage Kraken movie, it's their choice in storyboarding and direct, especially as we introduce all of our family characters. It's no secret everyone is designed like they all have tentacles, and they really ham it up. The movements of our characters are so awe-inspiring and electric that this feels like a movie with the direction of some of the greats. It's like an opening with an animated Edgar Wright or a Lord and Miller production. And the trailer definitely doesn't do it justice. In fact, the trailer seems to trail right off of the plot and vibes. It has the elemental problem. When you see the previews, it's pretty clear that Chelsea the Mermaid is the instant ironic villain. But when you see the real Seed, you see an element of how her antagonism is actually Ruby imagining it as she has a panic attack. The mermaid is more like a friend in wanting, and Ruby is too self-conscious to notice. That's a really interesting direction for your anxious, shy protagonist coming-of-age female story. But then, as the movie continues on, you start to realize, no, actually, the trailer was right the entire time. This is just the standard cliche plotline, just done with the different demographics of characters. Suddenly, the mermaid was secretly evil the whole time, and being a friend was just something they didn't want to show in the trailer at all. There's all sorts of nice introductions with different family members and learning what it is to be a Kraken, but then as it rolls out more, it just becomes more generic, and then it goes into like superhero territory of, we have laser eyes? I can't wait to use my laser eyes! There are some parallels to going through puberty and body changes and learning to understand your own identity, but in other forms, this just becomes so impassionate. Is that a word? I don't know how else to describe it. With an introduction that is so fantastic and off the side to what you normally would expect in animation and directorial choices, it feels like over the next 90 minutes, the film slowly returns back to the same exact pathing, as if you can physically feel some executive CEO saying, no, we have to pencil in this cliche to get to our perfect Disney ending. And by the end of the movie, spoilers by the way, turns out the big bad Queen Mermaid isn't even the mother of this new mermaid. They are the same person. She's just immortal. She's just the same villain as they were in the past. There wasn't even... You could have had that hint of generational issues again, where the queens of the past all had conflict, and now they could start a universe where Krakens and mermaids could start coming together, or something a little bit more, I don't know, interesting? But no, it just turns into your classic, they're the bad guy, it's them again. And it's so obvious too. The fact that the whole plot is about getting this magical spear, which they specifically say is what the mermaids want to become powerful, to do evil, and then the whole movie is spent going through that. It's like, you know where it's going, and you hope it doesn't. You expect a subversion, and there's just nothing there. I struggle to be passionate about this movie. I watched it now 2 or 3 weeks ago. By the time I'm talking about this part, I stopped scripting this video because I could not be asked to talk about it. And it is literally my job. I mean, to be fair, I also had life going on. I'm moving, I'm sorting things out. Kind of had a big Pikmin week on the side. I don't know if I marketed that well enough on this main channel. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I streamed for 41 hours. I don't care about Ruby Gillman. I've practically forgotten it by now. I know how it started. Brilliantly. It was like a great animation piece. I know the villain at the end and thought, wow, what a disappointment. It's another giant kaiju battle, but there's 3 of them. They use their laser eyes at the same time on the spear. Kapachooey, wow. Usually when I come out of a movie, I think of all these different directions that could have been taken that would make the whole movie more interesting. I remember I had a plot point that would have been a great transgression to make everything more interesting. I have since forgotten it. Hello, it's Daz from even further into the future from when this video was first written. I remember it now. The idea was that, what if the spear itself was evil? And then you could do something with that. Because the spear is what makes her evil, powerful queen lady. When she grabs it again, maybe she becomes evil, but was nice the whole time as a teenager, who's actually the daughter in my version of the story. And then by breaking the spear that requires 3 laser eyes, because it's 3-pronged, they break the mermaid curse and get to be friendly, or something, to make it slightly more interesting than, oh, mermaids are the good guys, so let's make them the bad guys. Now they're the bad guys. Ooh-ee-ooh-ah. Like, I don't know, man. There are other cliches, like how there's the unpopular friend group, then they get annoyed for being ignored for a while, and then they loop back to it. You know, there is a romance plot somewhat in there. There's a sailor, he's a good fun character. Clearly you can see there's passion in the concept and the characters, but then the actual main plot is awful. And then, like, how they just resolve it all. In the end, the mermaid is just captured in a cage and the sailor just keeps her. And that feels slightly weird and creepy to me. And then they lead up to a sequel bait where it's like, oh, this Kraken's always going to defend this little harbor town as they come to accept Krakens. Man, like, does any of that sound interesting to you? Because it wasn't. It really wasn't. Watch the first 5 minutes where it's almost like a sketch show where they show what each family member is doing and like their daily lives. It's like a mini little sketch bit. Great introduction to the family. And there are some really nice modern influencer jokes, right? Several of the characters are just full-on influencers. The dad is an ASMR artist, and they cut to him doing his ASMR on the day, and it's like, that's brilliant. I've never seen an ASMR reference in a movie other than, you know, actual ASMR in a movie, like Toy Story 2's, you know, Woody cleaning scene. There's also another character who streams gaming to like 30,000 people all the time, and it just exists. It's not like, oh, look at this doofy influencer over here. He's just like, yeah, I'm streaming right now, want to see? And then they're like, wow, you know, like, there's really good bits. Classically, the Kraken is first found out in a video that goes viral. They always have that plot. But, in a sense, there was some of the best influencer representation that I'd ever seen, considering it's always just the same usual gags. I really like the ASMR dad, I'll be honest. Like, that really chuckled me. But yeah, there are other elements of the movie I could talk about. The mum's a real estate agent. There's like a disparaging argument between the grandma and the ma. Well, God, this movie just like sucked all of the passion out of me as I watched it. It was just a soul-destroying 90 minutes. And it just got in and got out, and that was it. No post-credits. It was just so, like, great start and then false everything else. It's a reverse false start. And at the end of the day, it was a massive correct choice that the general population didn't seem to just want to watch it. At the end of the day, you have to make choices with so many movie options and so little monies in the pockets. And so, choosing to avoid this kind of generic bait maybe was for the best. The trailer couldn't have been more accurate for the actual vibes that the whole thing was going for. What a surprise. I was hoping it would be better, but it wasn't. You can skip your Ruby Gillmans, you can skip your Elementals if it was just what the trailer suggested, you can skip your classic action bait with Indiana Jones. Watch something new, watch something original, because clearly that's what the rest of the population wants, and hopefully the movie industry will follow suit. But I mean, they're gonna be a while, because they're currently, you know, fighting for their rights to work without AI consuming them all, so good luck with that. I'm not gonna talk about upcoming movies for a while, don't wanna, you know, do any promotion in someone else's stead. So we'll be doing more older stuff, which I've kinda classically been doing anyway. I guess that means I'm cancelling my TMNT movie video, huh? I'll work it out. But anyway, we're now going back to weekly uploads because I will be away for the entire month of August. You will probably have seen a trailer at the start of this video. But otherwise, I'd best end it off there. Not bad considering I started ad-libbing this halfway through. Maybe I should do this to save time at work. We'll see. Anyway, for now, my name's been Daz. You didn't really care. And that was How to Fix Ruby Gillman. Make the spear evil. I don't know. Don't make it in the first place. Give me an ASMR movie. I don't know. I'd probably watch it actually. I don't even like the dinky hit your fingers on glass kind of ASMR, but I'll take it for representation. Anyway, bye-bye, I'm rambling now.